Hello, I wanted to take a moment to review the accountability ladder. The accountability ladder is something we discuss a lot at DeVry University, both as professors and as students. The ladder is a great tool to help us understand why we may not be getting the results we want out of life or in school and even accomplishing our goals. Let's take a look and break down the different levels to the model. As we go through them, ask yourself where you currently are on the ladder or where you may find yourself on the ladder in certain situations. To go through each step, I'm going to relate it to a common example that I have seen in a lot of my on-site courses when I have delivered them at our Center City campus in Philadelphia. Many times we have run into issues with our public transportation system being SEPTA going on strike. When that happens, it causes a lot of issues for our students in terms of their ability to get to their classes on time or even at all. So for each ladder step that I discuss, think about that example and I will give you an example that relates to that same scenario. So let's start with the first rung of the ladder, which is called the unaware stage. At the unaware stage, these are people who are not even aware that there may even be a problem. So for example, a student in the context of the example I was talking about here may not even be aware that SEPTA had gone on strike. So either they're not keeping up to date with the newspapers, they're not following the news, they haven't talked to anybody relating it, so they have absolutely no idea that SEPTA has even gone on strike. Moving up the ladder, we get to the blame or the complain stage. And here, this is the stage where it's always easy to point the finger at others or institutions on why your responsibilities are not getting done. Overcoming this step requires us to point the fingers at ourselves and admit that we may, in fact, be the problem, not other people or factors. An example of this is when I get a student who did not show up for class and then simply told me, well, it was SEPTA's fault because they went on strike. The excuses stage. Making excuses. Making excuses as to why things are not getting done can be very easy, and it is actually a masked form of procrastination. So at the excuses stage, how this differs from the blame stage is that same student who did not make it to class because of the SEPTA strike, or maybe they showed up late because of the SEPTA strike, is saying, I couldn't make it, SEPTA was on strike, I couldn't get my mother to bring me into campus, my friend was running late when she picked me up. So they're not just blaming SEPTA for it, they're actually listing a bunch of other excuses as to why alternatives could not be found. The wait and hope stage. Waiters and hopers are those who do just that. They wait and hope for their successes to happen in their lives without even lifting a finger and having to actually go out and get it done. So in the wait and hope stage, a person who relies on SEPTA to get to courses, to get to their classes and courses, kind of just sits back and waits for SEPTA to resolve their differences and end the strike so that they can jump on the public transportation and ride down. So these first four stages of the accountability ladder, we consider the powerless stage. In other words, you are powerless to enact changes, or you feel powerless, or you are acting powerless. It's not really where you want to be on the ladder. As we move into the top four, we get into acknowledge reality. People who are at this level look at the situation in black and white and realize that there are things that need to get done, and the responsibility for that falls on them. So for the SEPTA scenario we're discussing, a person at this stage realizes that SEPTA is on strike. They also know that it is going to prohibit them from getting to their class, and they accept that and they begin to think of ways around it. So they have accepted that this is going to cause them a problem getting to class, and they are beginning to think about ways they can get around it. At the own it stage, you have now acknowledged the reality of the situation, and now it is time to decide if we are going to fall back onto some of the previous steps of the ladder, like excuses or blaming or complaining, or if we are going to take ownership of the problem and move forward. So the person at this stage has acknowledged the reality they cannot get to class because of the SEPTA strike, but they are now saying it is my responsibility to find out what I'm going to do to get around this. I'm not going to call my professor and say, I can't make it to class because SEPTA is on strike. I'm going to begin to develop reasons on how to get there, which naturally flows into the finding solution stage. Owning the situation is key, but now that you own it, the next step is to find solutions which are going to allow you to hit your goal. So finding solutions at this stage would be, okay, what can I do as an alternate way to get to class? Can I maybe grab an Uber ride? Can I carpool with a friend who has class on the same night? Am I close enough that maybe I can ride my bike there? Can I call a taxi? What are my alternate ways of getting to class? So you're actually listing solutions that will enable you to get there. And then hopefully you get to the top rung, which is get on with it. Or like what I like to say, make it happen. Now that you have owned it and you have come up with solutions, it is your time to implement and take action. Getting to this step is the best part because you put your solutions into action and you have literally accomplished your goals. When you are on the get on with it stage at the ladder, you are now sitting in my class in front of me and have managed to get there with SEPTA being on strike. So think about the steps on the ladder. Think about this in all aspects of your career with Devry University, in terms of your homework assignment deadlines, in terms of maybe some technology problems you have if you lose internet at your house, transportation issues. You always want to find yourself at the higher end of the ladder. You want to take responsibility for your end of the bargain. It's a 50-50 street with your professor. You both have to find ways to get you to your goal. But you also have to take accountability for it yourself.